When Billionaire CEO Elena Blackthorne walks into the wrong boardroom, she has no idea she's about to meet her match in the most dangerous man alive. Damien Ravencrest doesn't just own half the city. He's the alpha king of the most powerful werewolf pack in North America. But some chains are meant to be broken, and some obsessions are worth dying for. Subscribe to our channel for more supernatural romance stories that will leave you breathless. Elena Blackthorne adjusts her Hermes blazer one final time before pushing through the mahogany doors of the 52nd floor. The merger with Ravencrest Industries will secure her family's tech empire for generations. But she's never met the elusive CEO who bought out 3 competitors in a single month. The boardroom she enters is wrong, too dark, too primal, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city like a predator's perch. Instead of her team's familiar faces, she finds herself staring at 12 men in perfectly tailored suits, their eyes reflecting an otherworldly gleam in the dim lighting. At the head of the table sits a man who makes her breath catch. Damien Ravencrest is nothing like his corporate photos. Those captured only shadows of the raw power radiating from his 6'4" frame. His dark hair is disheveled, as if he's run his hands through it, and his steel-grey eyes track her movement with an intensity that makes her pulse quicken. "You're in the wrong room, Miss Blackthorne." His voice rumbles with an authority that seems to vibrate through her bones. "Actually, I'm exactly where I need to be." She lifts her chin, refusing to be intimidated despite the way every man in the room has gone perfectly still. The Blackthorne-Ravencrest merger is cancelled. Damien rises from his chair with fluid grace, and Elena notices how the other men automatically defer to him, heads slightly bowed. "Leave now!" Something wild and dangerous crackles between them as he stalks closer. Elena's never back down from a challenge, especially not from arrogant billionaires who think their money makes them untouchable. But this feels different, primal, electric, like standing in the path of an approaching storm. You can't just cancel a $1 billion deal because you're having a bad day. She stands her ground even as he towers over her, close enough that she can smell his intoxicating scent. Cedar. Smoke and something indefinably masculine. His eyes flash, literally flash gold for a split second, and Elena's rational mind insists she imagined it. "You have no idea what kind of day I'm having." The temperature in the room seems to drop. The other men shift restlessly, and Elena catches a low rumble that sounds almost like growling. "Enough!" Damien snaps, and the sound stops immediately. His gaze never leaves Elena's face. "You're not safe here. I can take care of myself." A smile curves his lips, but there's nothing human about it. "Can you?" Before Elena can respond, the lights flicker. Every man in the room tenses, as if responding to some invisible signal. Damien's hand shoots out to grip her wrist, and the touch sends electricity racing up her arm. "You need to leave. Now." His voice has dropped to barely above a whisper, urgent and commanding. "Before you see something you can't unsee." Elena tries to pull away, but his grip is like steel, not painful, but absolutely unyielding. In the periphery of her vision, she notices the other men's features seem sharper somehow, more angular, their eyes reflecting the city lights like animals. "Let go of me," she demands, but her voice wavers. Damien's thumb traces across her racing pulse, and his eyes flutter closed as if he's savoring something. When they open again, they're definitely not human. "Run, Elena," he whispers, releasing her wrist. "Run, and don't look back." She doesn't need to be told twice. Elena spins on her designer heels and flees toward the door, her heart hammering against her ribs. Behind her, she hears the unmistakable sound of fabric tearing and something that might be snarling. She doesn't stop running until she reaches her car. Elena's hands shake as she grips the steering wheel, her Maserati purring through the empty streets of downtown Seattle. Every logical part of her brain insists she imagined the golden flash in Damien's eyes, the predatory stillness of the other men, the sound of tearing fabric as she fled. But her body knows better. Her pulse still races from his touch, and she can't shake the feeling that she's being followed. Her phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. You can't run from what you are. Elena nearly swerves into oncoming traffic. She pulls over, hands trembling as she stares at the message. How did he get her number? And what the hell does that mean? Another text, the coffee shop on Pine Street. Tomorrow, 8 a.m., come alone. She should block the number. Should call her security team. Should pretend this never happened and find another company to merge with. Instead, she finds herself typing back, why? The response is immediate, because you felt it too. Elena stares at the screen until it goes black, her reflection ghost-like in the dark glass. She did feel it, that electric connection, the inexplicable pull toward a man who should terrify her. But Damien Ravencrest isn't just dangerous because he's powerful. There's something else, something that makes every instinct scream both danger and desire. That night, her dreams are filled with wolves. She wakes gasping, sheets soaked with sweat, and the taste of copper in her mouth. In the dream, she was running through a dark forest, but she wasn't afraid. She was hunting. The coffee shop on Pine Street is a small, intimate place tucked between a bookstore and a vintage clothing boutique. Elena arrives exactly at 8, wearing jeans and a sweater instead of her usual power suits, armor that suddenly feels inadequate. Damien is already there, sitting in a corner booth with his back to the wall, like a man accustomed to watching for threats. In casual clothes, he's even more devastating. The expensive suits had been hiding the breadth of his shoulders, the corded strength of his arms. You came, he says, as she slides into the seat across from him. I shouldn't have. No, you shouldn't. His grey eyes study her face with an intensity that makes her fidget. But here we are. The barista approaches, and Damien orders for both of them without asking what she wants. Under normal circumstances, Elena would be furious at his presumption. Instead, she finds herself oddly comforted when he orders her coffee exactly the way she likes it, information he shouldn't possess. How do you know how I take my coffee? I know a lot of things about you, Elena Blackthorne. He leans forward, and she catches that intoxicating scent again. I know you graduated summa cum laude from Stanford. I know you've never lost a business negotiation. I know you have a scar on your left shoulder from a car accident when you were 16. Elena's blood runs cold. The scar is hidden beneath her sweater, barely visible even when she's undressed. You had me investigated. I didn't need to. His voice drops to that dangerous whisper again. I can smell the metal and fear on your skin. I can hear your heartbeat change when you lie. I can sense things about you that you don't even know about yourself. The coffee arrives, but Elena doesn't touch hers. What are you? Damien's smile is sharp as a blade. The better question is, what are you? Before she can ask what he means, her phone rings. Her assistant's panicked voice fills the air. Elena, thank God. You need to get to the office immediately. Someone broke into the building last night. They didn't take anything but... Her voice falters. They left something behind. Elena's eyes lock with Damien's. His expression has gone deadly serious. What did they leave? Elena asks, though she's afraid of the answer. Wolf tracks. In your office. Elena's corner office on the 40th floor looks like a crime scene. Her mahogany desk is overturned, papers scattered across the floor like fallen snow. But it's the massive paw prints pressed into the Persian rug that make her legs go weak. Security footage? She asks her head of security, Marcus, though she already knows the answer from his grim expression. Cameras went dark at 2:47 a.m., came back online at 3:15. No signs of forced entry, no alarms triggered. Marcus runs a hand through his graying hair. Elena, these prints, they're not from any normal wolf. She kneels beside the largest track, her fingers hovering over the impression. The paw print is easily twice the size of any wolf she's seen in nature documentaries. And there's something else. A lingering scent of cedar and smoke that makes her pulse quicken with recognition. Damien, leave me alone for a few minutes, she tells Marcus. Elena, I don't think, please. Her voice carries an authority that surprises them both. Marcus nods reluctantly and closes the door behind him. Elena locks it and turns back to the destroyed office. The wolf tracks form a clear path, from the window to her desk, around her chair, then back to the window. Whoever did this wasn't looking for corporate secrets. They were looking for her. Her phone buzzes. Another message from Damien. Are you hurt? She stares at the text, then at the paw prints. Did you do this? No, but I know who did. You're not safe. Let me protect you. Protect me from what? The response comes immediately. From those who want to claim you before you're ready to be claimed. Elena's hands shake as she types, I don't understand any of this. Meet me tonight. Pier 47. I'll explain everything. She should say no. Should call the police, hire more security, maybe leave town until this madness passes. Instead, she finds herself typing, okay, that evening, Pier 47 is shrouded in fog rolling off Elliott Bay. Elena's heels click against the wet wooden planks as she walks toward the solitary figure waiting at the end of the pier. Damien stands with his hands in his coat pockets, looking out over the dark water. You came, he says without turning around. I keep making that mistake. She stops a few feet away, close enough to see him clearly, but far enough to run if necessary. He turns then, and Elena's breath catches. In the moonlight, his features seem sharper, more defined. His eyes hold that strange luminescence she's beginning to associate with him. There are things in this world that humans don't understand, he begins, his voice carrying over the gentle lapping of waves. Ancient bloodlines, powers that predate civilization, rules that govern more than just business. You're talking about werewolves. The words feel ridiculous leaving her lips, but she's past pretending this is normal, among other things. He steps closer, and Eleanor doesn't retreat. Some humans carry dormant supernatural genes. They live their entire lives never knowing what they are, never awakening to their true nature. And you think I'm one of them. I don't think. I know. His hand reaches out to touch her cheek, and Eleanor leans into the warmth despite every rational thought. Your great-grandmother was Lydia Blackthorne. She was one of the most powerful witches in the Pacific Northwest before she fell in love with a human and chose to suppress her magic. Elena's world tilts. That's impossible. The blood always calls back to itself, Elena. That's why you felt the connection between us. That's why other wolves can scent your potential. His thumb traces her cheekbone. That's why they broke into your office. They're trying to force your awakening before you're strong enough to control it. Who's they? Damien's expression darkens. My enemies. Wolves who believe power should be taken, not earned. A howl echoes across the water, long and mournful. Then another. And another. They're coming, Damien whispers. Choose Elena. Trust me, or face them alone. As shadows begin moving along the shoreline, Elena realizes she's already made her choice. Elena's world explodes into chaos as wolves emerge from the fog like nightmares made flesh. Not men who transform, actual wolves, massive and silver-eyed, moving with coordinated precision that speaks of ancient pack intelligence. Damien's transformation is swift and fluid. One moment he's the billionaire CEO she's coming to know. The next, a wolf the size of a small horse stands between her and the approaching pack. His fur is midnight black, and his eyes burn with golden fire. Elena presses her back against the pier railing as the confrontation unfolds. The lead wolf, grey with silver markings, pads forward with obvious authority. When it shifts back into human form, Elena recognizes him from the boardroom. Marcus Steele, one of Damien's supposed business associates. Alpha King, Marcus says with mock deference. You're protecting human cattle now? Damien shifts back, rising naked and unashamed in the moonlight. Elena tries not to stare at the perfect sculpture of his body, but her eyes betray her. Elena Blackthorne is under my protection, Marcus. Challenge that and you challenge me. She's unclaimed, unawakened. Marcus's smile reveals teeth that seem too sharp. Fair game by pack law. She carries Blackthorne blood. Which blood? That makes her mine by right of supernatural hierarchy. Elena finds her voice. I'm not anyone's property, Both wolves turn to look at her, and she realizes she's made a tactical error. The grey wolves behind Marcus begin to pace, their excitement palpable. But it's Marcus's expression that terrifies her, hunger mixed with cruel amusement. She doesn't even know what she is. Marcus laughs. How can you claim mate right over someone who hasn't awakened? Mate right? Elena's voice cracks. Damien's jaw tightens. Elena, I need you to trust me. Whatever happens next, whatever you see or feel, don't fight it. Before she can ask what he means, Marcus signals his pack. They don't shift back to wolf form. They rush forward as humans, moving with inhuman speed and strength. Damien meets the first attacker head-on, and Elena watches in horror as they fight with bare hands and supernatural ferocity. Blood sprays across the wooden pier. Snarls and growls fill the air. And through it all, something inside Elena begins to burn. It starts as warmth in her chest, then spreads outward like liquid fire through her veins. The world becomes sharper. She can smell individual scents on each wolf, hear heartbeats over the sounds of combat. See with crystal clarity despite the fog. A wolf breaks away from the main fight, heading straight for her with murder in his eyes. Elena raises her hands instinctively, and power explodes outward. The attacker flies backward 20 feet, hitting the pier so hard the wooden planks crack. Elena stares at her hands in shock. They're glowing with silver light. The fighting stops. Every wolf, including Damien, stares at her with a mixture of awe and wariness. Witch magic, Marcus breathes. Pure bloodline. She's more valuable than we thought. Damien moves to Elena's side, and she realizes the power display has changed everything. The other wolves no longer look at her like prey. Now she's something to be coveted, controlled, claimed. The awakening has begun. Damien says quietly, "There's no going back now." Elena looks at her still glowing hands, then at the wolves surrounding them. Some part of her that she's never acknowledged feels right. Like she's finally becoming who she was, always meant to be. "What happens now?" she asks. Marcus grins, showing those two sharp teeth. "Now the real hunt begins. Every pack in North America will want her. She'll need protection, guidance, a mate strong enough to help her control that power." His gaze slides to Damien. "May the strongest alpha win." As if summoned by his words, howls begin echoing from all directions, the city, the forests, the mountains beyond. Elena's awakening has sent a signal to every supernatural creature for hundreds of miles. The billionaire Alpha King's obsession is about to become a war. Elena's penthouse apartment feels like a cage despite its floor-to-ceiling windows and stunning view of the Sound. Damien insisted she couldn't return to her family estate. Too isolated, too many entry points for enemies to exploit. Now she paces the marble floors while he makes phone calls in 3 different languages, coordinating what he calls protection protocols. The silver glow has faded from her hands, but she can still feel the power humming beneath her skin like a second heartbeat. Every few minutes it flares without warning, causing light bulbs to flicker or electronics to glitch. "You need to learn control," Damien says, ending his latest call and focusing those intense grey eyes on her. "Raw magic without discipline is dangerous to you and everyone around you. I didn't ask for this." Elena stops pacing and faces him. In the soft apartment lighting, he looks less like a supernatural predator and more like the man who ordered her coffee exactly the way she likes it. "Yesterday, I was a normal CEO. Today I'm apparently some kind of witch being hunted by werewolves. You were never normal. Elena, the magic was always there, waiting." He approaches slowly, hands visible and non-threatening. "Your great-grandmother's journals are in the Ravencrest archives. She documented everything, spells, bloodline histories, the supernatural politics of her time. You have my family's private documents? I have everything that matters to pack security, including records of every supernatural bloodline in the Pacific Northwest." He stops just within arm's reach. "The Blackthorn line is special. Your great-grandmother wasn't just a witch. She was a bridge between worlds, someone who could bind supernatural creatures to their word, forge alliances, end wars. Elena laughs bitterly. And you think I inherited that? I know you did. I felt it the moment you walked into my boardroom. His voice drops to that dangerous whisper. Do you know what it means when an alpha recognizes his mate instantly? Don't. Elena backs away, but he follows with predatory grace. Don't you dare suggest this is some kind of destined romance. You've known me for 3 days. I've known your soul for lifetimes. Damien's eyes flash gold. Every alpha dreams of finding their true mate, the one person who can match their power, share their burden, complete their strength. Most of us never find her. What makes you so sure I'm yours? Instead of answering with words, Damien closes the distance between them. His hand cups the back of her neck, and Elena feels that electric connection intensify until it's almost overwhelming. Her magic responds immediately, silver light dancing beneath her skin. Because of this, he murmurs, his thumb tracing the pulse at her throat. Your power recognizes mine. Your body responds to my touch. Your magic calls to my wolf. Elena should pull away, should maintain professional distance, should remember that this man, this creature, is dangerous beyond her understanding. Instead, she finds herself stepping closer. Show me, she whispers. Damien's eyes widen slightly. Elena, if we're truly mates, if this connection is real, prove it. She lifts her chin in challenge. Show me what that means. His smile is sharp as a blade. You don't know what you're asking for. Then educate me. Damien's hand slides from her neck to cradle her face. The claiming mark isn't just symbolic. It's a magical bond that ties mate to mate across time and space. Once given, it can never be broken. And if I accept it, then you become my equal in all things. A ruler of the Ravencrest pack, target of every enemy who wants to destroy me. His thumb traces her lower lip. Are you ready for that kind of power? That kind of danger? Elena's magic flares bright silver, and for the first time since her awakening began, she doesn't try to suppress it. Mark me, she says. The claiming ritual takes place at midnight in Damien's private estate, nestled in the Cascade Mountains. Elena expected something primitive, a cave, perhaps, or a forest clearing. Instead, she finds herself in a circular room with walls made entirely of windows, offering a 360-degree view of the wilderness beyond. Every Ravencrest alpha has been claimed or claimed their mate in this room. Damien explains as he lights candles placed at specific points around the circle. The architecture channels both earth magic and lunar energy. Elena wears a simple white dress that Damien provided, though she suspects there's nothing simple about the fabric. It seems to shimmer with its own light, and when she moves, silver threads become visible in the weave. Spelled, she asks, woven with moonbeams and blessed by the pack's previous luna. His smile is soft, almost reverent. It was my mother's. The admission catches Elena off guard. Despite everything she's learned about Damien, he's revealed very little about his family, his past. The man beneath the Alpha King persona. Tell me about her. Later. He finishes lighting the last candle and turns to face her. Are you certain about this? Once we begin, there's no going back. You'll be bound to me, to the pack, to a world that will demand everything you have to give. Elena thinks about her ordinary life. Board meetings and profit margins, charity galas and shareholder reports. A life that felt increasingly hollow, even before she learned about magic and mates and supernatural politics. I'm certain. Damien nods and begins to strip with efficient, unself-conscious movements. Elena tries not to stare at the revealing expanse of muscle and scars, but her body responds with a heat that has nothing to do with magic. The claiming requires skin contact, he explains, noting her expression. Magic flows more freely, without barriers. Elena reaches for the zipper of her dress, then hesitates. Not from modesty, she's a grown woman who's had lovers, but from the knowledge that this will change her fundamentally. Let me, Damien says softly. His hands are gentle as they slide the dress from her shoulders, letting it pool at her feet. When he steps back to look at her, his eyes burn with golden fire. You're perfect, he breathes. The claiming begins with words, ancient vows spoken in a language that predates written history. Elena doesn't understand the syllables, but her magic responds, recognizing truths that transcend translation. When Damien kneels before her and presses his forehead to her hands, silver light erupts around them both. Elena gasps as power flows between them, creating a circuit of magical energy that grows stronger with each exchange. "Now the mark," Damien says. Rising to his feet, Elena tilts her head, exposing the curve of her neck. She expects teeth, expects pain. Instead, Damien's hand glows with golden light as he traces a symbol over her pulse point. Where his fingers touch, Elena feels heat that sinks deep into her very soul. The magic is overwhelming, waves of power that crash over her until she can't tell where her abilities end and his begin. She sees flashes of Damien's memories, a lonely childhood, the weight of leadership thrust upon him too young, centuries of searching for something he couldn't name, and she sees herself through his eyes, not just tonight, but from the moment she walked into his boardroom. The instant recognition, the desperate hunger, the absolute certainty that she was meant to be his, Elena. Her name is a prayer on his lips. When she opens her eyes, she finds him watching her with an expression of wonder. At her throat, the claiming mark pulses with soft golden light, and she can feel it, the bond between them, strong as steel and warm as sunlight. "I can feel you," she whispers, "and I can feel you." He pulls her closer, and Elena realizes she's glowing too, silver light that complements his gold. We are one now, in all ways that matter. Outside the windows, howls begin to echo through the mountains. But these aren't challenges or threats. These are songs of celebration, the pack welcoming their new Luna. Elena Blackthorne is no longer merely human. She is the billionaire Alpha King's equal, his mate, his other half. The war for her is over. The war with her has just begun. 3 weeks after the claiming, Elena discovers that being the Luna of the most powerful werewolf pack in North America involves significantly more politics and significantly less romance than she'd anticipated. Her days are filled with pack disputes, territorial negotiations, and learning to control magic that seems to grow stronger with each passing hour. The Silver Moon pack is requesting a formal audience, Damien says over breakfast, sliding a thick folder across their dining table. They claim Marcus Steele has been recruiting lone wolves for some kind of challenge to our authority. Elena flips through photographs of unfamiliar faces while sipping coffee that tastes like it was brewed by someone who actually understands her preferences. Being mated to an Alpha King has its perks, including a staff that seems to anticipate her needs before she voices them. "How many packs are there exactly?" she asks. "In North America? 47 major packs, countless smaller ones, plus lone wolves who answer to no alpha." Damien's expression darkens. Marcus has always been ambitious, but recruiting across pack lines is an act of war. What does he want? You. The simple answer sends ice through Elena's veins. A Luna with your bloodline and power could unite every supernatural faction under one banner. With the right mate, you could rule more than just werewolves, but I'm already mated to you. Claiming marks can be broken. It requires blood, sacrifice, and magic powerful enough to sever soul bonds, but it's possible. Damien reaches across the table to take her hand, and Elena feels the familiar warmth of their connection. He thinks if he can kill me and claim you himself, your magic will bend to his will. Elena laughs, but there's no humor in it. He clearly doesn't know me very well. That's what I'm counting on. Before Elena can ask what he means, her phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. "The Blackthorn Witch will come to us willingly, or we'll take her by force. You have 48 hours to deliver her, or every human in the city becomes our hunting ground." Elena shows Damien the message, watching his expression shift from concern to fury. His eyes flash gold, and she can feel his wolf pressing close to the surface. "They're threatening innocence to draw you out," he says quietly. "Classic Marcus, he knows you won't let humans die for supernatural politics. So what do? We give him what he wants. Elena stares at her mate. Excuse me? Not really, Damien clarifies quickly. But we make him think he's getting what he wants. There's a reason I chose you, Elena. Not just because you're my destined mate, but because you're brilliant, strategic, and now powerful enough to level a city block if properly motivated. You want to use me as bait. I want to use us as bait. Together, we're strong enough to end this threat permanently. His grip on her hand tightens. But only if you trust me completely. Elena considers the photos of Marcus's recruits, the threatening message, the weight of responsibility that comes with being Luna to thousands of supernatural creatures. 3 weeks ago, her biggest concern was quarterly profit margins. Now she's being asked to walk into what's almost certainly a trap to prevent a supernatural war. What's the plan? Damien's smile is sharp and predatory. Marcus wants to meet at the old Packwood sawmill tomorrow night. Neutral territory, he claims, though I doubt he intends to honor that neutrality. And we're going to show up anyway. We're going to show up and remind everyone why the Ravencrest Pack has held power for 3 centuries. Damien brings her hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to the claiming mark on her wrist. Are you ready to show Seattle what a truly awakened Luna can do? Elena feels her magic respond to the challenge, silver light dancing beneath her skin. For the first time since her awakening began, she's not afraid of the power coursing through her veins. Let's go hunting, she says. The Packwood sawmill squats on the banks of the Duwamish River like an abandoned beast, its broken windows reflecting the full moon in jagged fragments. Elena can smell the deception before they even leave the car. Too many wolves for a peaceful negotiation. The scent of silver weapons, the metallic tang of spilled blood. Ambush, she states, obviously. Damien's voice is calm, but Elena can feel his wolf's battle readiness through their bond. Marcus never intended to negotiate. This was always meant to be an execution. Elena adjusts the leather jacket Damien insisted she wear, spelled for protection, though she suspects her own power is a better defense than any magical armor. How many? 40, maybe 50. His eyes glow golden in the darkness as he scans the industrial complex. More than he should be able to command, which means he's made alliances. They approach the main building together, and Elena marvels at how much she's changed in just a few weeks. The woman who walked into the wrong boardroom would have called the police, demanded backup, tried to negotiate from a position of safety. The Luna who strides beside the Alpha King is ready for war. Marcus waits in the center of the sawmill floor, surrounded by wolves in human form. But Elena recognizes some faces from other packs, other territories. This isn't just about deposing Damien anymore. It's a full-scale coup attempt. Alpha King, Marcus says with mock formality. And the Blackthorn Witch. How considerate of you to deliver yourself to us. Still playing politics, Marcus? Damien's voice carries easily across the cavernous space. I thought you'd learned by now that challenging me ends poorly for everyone involved. Times change. Power shifts. Marcus signals and his allies begin to spread out, surrounding Elena and Damien in a loose circle. Your little pet witch is impressive, but she's untrained, uncontrolled. With proper guidance, she could rule all supernaturals, not just your pack of overgrown dogs. Elena steps forward before Damien can respond. You made one crucial mistake, Marcus. And what's that, little witch? You assumed I wanted to rule anyone? Elena lets her power flare, silver light dancing around her hands. I don't want to control supernaturals. I want to protect them. From threats both external and internal. Pretty words. But power belongs to those strong enough to take it. Marcus nods to his wolves. Kill the Alpha. Bring me the witch. The battle erupts in chaos and violence. Elena has seen Damien fight before, but not like this. Not with the full fury of his wolf unleashed. He moves like liquid death, taking down 3 attackers before the 4th can even shift to wolf form. But there are too many. Even with his speed and strength, the numbers are overwhelming. Elena watches a wolf leap at Damien's back and reacts on pure instinct. Silver fire explodes outward from her hands, catching the attacker mid-leap and hurling him through a support beam. Wood crashes down around them, and suddenly the other wolves are backing away from her with fear in their eyes. She's more powerful than the intelligence suggested, someone shouts. Fall back, regroup. But Elena is done running, done being hunted, done letting others dictate her fate. The magic her great-grandmother suppressed flows through her veins like molten silver, and for the first time since her awakening, she doesn't fight it. You want to see what a blackthorn witch can do? She calls out, her voice carrying supernatural authority. Let me show you. The sawmill explodes with silver light. Every window shatters simultaneously. Metal machinery groans and bends. And the wolves, every single one except Damien, drops to their knees as Elena's power washes over them like a tsunami of pure magical force. When the light fades, Elena stands in the center of the destruction with her hands still glowing and her eyes blazing silver fire. Around her, 43 wolves kneel in submission, including Marcus Steele. The challenge is ended, she declares, her voice echoing with otherworldly authority. Any who oppose the Ravencrest pack will answer to me. As acknowledgements ripple through the assembled wolves, Elena realizes she's become something unprecedented, not just a Luna, but a supernatural force that even alphas fear to challenge. Victory tastes like copper and ozone, Elena discovers as she surveys the aftermath of the sawmill battle. The wolves who challenge them kneel in submission, but she can sense their resentment, their barely contained rage. Fear-based loyalty never lasts. What do we do with them? She asks Damien as they stand together in the center of the destruction her magic wrought. Traditional pack law demands death for direct challenges to alpha authority, Damien says quietly. But you're not traditional, are you? Elena looks at Marcus, still kneeling with his head bowed, and feels something shift inside her chest. The old Elena would have demanded justice, punishment, retribution, but the Luna she's becoming understands something deeper about power. Stand up, she commands Marcus. He rises slowly, his eyes cautious but still defiant. Going to execute me personally, witch? I'm going to offer you a choice. Elena steps closer, ignoring Damien's sharp intake of breath. You can continue this war, keep challenging us, keep putting innocence at risk. Or you can serve something greater than your own ambition. Elena, Damien warns. She holds up a hand without looking away from Marcus. There are other threats out there, aren't there? Things worse than pack politics and territorial disputes. Marcus's expression shifts, surprise replacing defiance. How do you... Because I can feel it. Elena's magic pulses gently, reading the supernatural currents around them. Something's coming. Something that will make our little war look like a playground squabble. Before Marcus can respond, the temperature in the sawmill drops 20 degrees. Frost begins forming on the broken glass, and every wolf in the building tenses as an otherworldly presence fills the air. How perceptive, a voice says from the shadows. The figure that emerges from the darkness isn't human, isn't wolf, isn't anything Elena has encountered before. Tall and pale with eyes like black stars, it moves with a grace that defies physics. What are you? Elena demands, stepping protectively in front of the kneeling wolves. I am what comes after your kind grows too comfortable in their power. The creature's smile reveals teeth like black diamonds. I am Morrigan, herald of the ancient dark, and you, little blackthorn witch, have grown far too bright. Damien shifts partially, claws and fangs extending as his wolf surges forward. Faye, he growls, we had a treaty. Treaties are for equals. You are insects compared to what stirs in the spaces between worlds. Morrigan's attention fixes on Eleanor with predatory intensity. But she might be worth preserving as a pet. Elena's magic flares in response to the threat, but when her silver light touches the creature's darkness, it simply absorbs it, like light being swallowed by a black hole. Impossible, she breathes. Child, your great-grandmother's power was a candle flame compared to the forces I serve. But don't despair. I'm here to offer you a choice, similar to the one you just extended to these pathetic wolves. Which is? Submit willingly, and I'll allow your precious Alpha King to live as my servant. Refuse, and I'll peel his skin from his bones while you watch, then drag you both to the dark court in chains. Elena feels every wolf in the building looking to her for salvation, including Damien. The weight of leadership settles on her shoulders like a mantle of lead. Or, she says slowly, there's option 3. Morrigan tilts its head. Oh? Elena reaches out through her bond with Damien, then extends her magical senses to every wolf in the sawmill, including Marcus and his former allies. She can feel their strength, their loyalty, their desperate hope. We stand together, she says. All of us. United against a common enemy. Elena, no! Damien realizes what she's planning. The blood price will be worth it. Elena extends her hands toward the assembled wolves. Marcus, will you and your wolves stand with us? Not as conquered enemies, but as allies? Marcus stares at her for a long moment, then at the fey creature that radiates malevolent power. Against that, yes, then give me your strength. The blood magic Elena calls upon is older than pack law, older than territorial disputes, older than the feuds that divide supernatural creatures into warring factions. It's the magic of survival, of unity in the face of annihilation. Every wolf in the sawmill, Ravencrest pack members, Marcus's rebels, lone wolves caught up in politics beyond their understanding, extends their hands toward her. When their blood mingles with hers, Eleanor gasps at the sheer magnitude of power flowing through her veins. She is no longer just herself, or even just Damien's mate. She is the living conduit for the strength, courage, and fierce loyalty of nearly 50 werewolves. Silver light erupts from her skin, but now it's shot through with gold, with the warm amber of pack bonds and the deep crimson of blood freely given. Interesting, Morrigan muses, though its black star eyes narrow with something that might be concern. A battle meld. I haven't seen one of those in centuries. Then you know what comes next, Elena says, her voice carrying the harmonized power of the pack. Damien shifts fully into his massive wolf form, but he's not alone. Every other wolf follows suit, their individual strengths flowing into Elena's magical matrix. She stands at the center of a supernatural storm, human in form, but wielding the combined might of the most powerful pack alliance in North American history. You cannot defeat the Dark Court, little witch, Morrigan warns. We are inevitable. We are. Elena strikes. Silver fire lances through the fey creature's darkness, but this time her magic doesn't get absorbed. Fed by 50 werewolf souls, her power burns with an intensity that makes Morrigan shriek and stumble backward. Impossible, the herald hisses. You made the same mistake Marcus did, Elena says, advancing as her pack flanks her on all sides. You assumed I wanted to fight you alone. The battle that follows isn't the chaotic melee of wolves versus wolves. It's coordinated, strategic, devastating. Elena weaves spells with gestures while her pack provides the raw strength needed to fuel them. Damien leads flanking maneuvers while she holds Morrigan's attention. Marcus and his former rebels protect her back while she channels their combined fury into weapons of pure magical force. When it ends, the herald of the ancient dark lies broken and burning on the sawmill floor, its essence dissolving back into the spaces between worlds. This isn't over, Morrigan gasps as it fades. The Dark Court remembers. The Dark Court will return. Let them come, Elena says with absolute confidence. We'll be ready. In the silence that follows, Elena realizes the blood magic has changed her permanently. She can feel every wolf who contributed to the battle meld, their emotions, their locations, their well-being. She is no longer just Luna to the Ravencrest pack, but to every supernatural creature who chose to stand with her tonight. What does this mean? Marcus asks as he shifts back to human form. Elena looks at the faces surrounding her. Wolves who were enemies an hour ago, now bound to her by magic and mutual sacrifice. She looks at Damien, whose love and pride flow through their mate bond like warm honey. It means the old rules no longer apply, she says. We're not separate packs competing for territory anymore. We're family. She extends her hand to Marcus, and when he takes it, the silver mark that appears on his wrist matches the one on Damien's. Not a claiming mark, something new. A bond of choice rather than fate. Elena Blackthorne Ravencrest, she says formally, though she's smiling. Luna of the United Pax. First of her name, bridge between worlds. As acknowledgements ripple through the assembled wolves, Elena realizes her transformation is complete. She began this journey as an ordinary billionaire, CEO. She's ending it as something unprecedented, a supernatural leader powerful, enough to unite ancient enemies and stand against cosmic threats. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more supernatural romance stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Hit that notification bell to never miss an upload, and let us know in the comments which paranormal romance you'd like to see next.